Welcome back to the New Tourist Channel. Today, we're diving deep into a recent and devastating event in the capital city of Mali, Bamako. In this episode, we'll discuss the tragic attacks that occurred on September 17, provide context around the security situation in Mali, and explore what this means for the country's future stability. Colonel Assimi Goita, who rose to prominence following two coups in less than a year, is considered the strong man of Mali. His leadership has been marked by attempts to stabilize the country, but his administration has faced significant domestic and international challenges. Recently, Mali has made headlines again, but not for the reasons one would hope. On September 17th, a series of coordinated attacks shook Bamako, targeting key security installations. This wasn't just a single incident, but a multi-pronged assault that took place almost simultaneously across different parts of the city. The attackers targeted the Banankabagu neighborhood, the Falidi military police school, and the military airport. The assaults resulted in 77 deaths and over 255 injuries, sending shockwaves through the capital and beyond. Among the deceased were 50 military police students, and several aircraft were reportedly destroyed at the military airport. The assault began around 5 a.m. and continued for nearly 9 hours. The attack was claimed by a militant group affiliated with Al-Qaeda. This group has been a significant force in the region, capitalizing on the political instability and insecurity plaguing Mali in recent years. You might wonder why Bamako, the capital city, is not typically the epicenter of such large-scale militant operations, which usually occur in the more volatile northern and central regions of Mali. Targeting Bamako sends a strong message, showing that militant groups have the capacity and willingness to strike at the heart of the country's governance and security. The locations chosen for the attacks were strategic. The Banankabagu neighborhood houses a considerable number of security personnel and their families, while the Falidi military police school is one of the training grounds for the country's security forces. The military airport is a critical hub for both domestic and international military operations, making it a high-value target. By hitting these locations, the attackers aimed to undermine the morale of the security forces and demonstrate their strength. The international community, including the UN Security Council, has strongly condemned these acts of terrorism, highlighting the growing instability in the Sahel region and its impact on global security. To understand the gravity of these attacks, it's essential to look at the broader political and security context in Mali. The country has been in a state of crisis since the military coup in August 2020, which ousted President Ibrahim Keita. The coup was driven by widespread dissatisfaction with the government's handling of the insurgency in the north, rampant corruption, and economic stagnation. Since the coup, the transitional government has struggled to restore order and confidence among the populace. Initially, there were promises of a swift return to civilian rule. However, these have been delayed multiple times, with the latest deadline now pushed to 2025. This uncertainty has created a power vacuum, which jihadist groups like the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara have exploited to expand their influence. Bear in mind that this is not the first time there have been attacks aimed at the military leader. On July 20, 2021, during the Eid al-Adha prayers at the Grand Mosque in Bamako, an individual attempted to assassinate President Goita. The attacker, armed with a knife, lunged at the president in a brazen attempt to destabilize the already fragile political environment. Fortunately, Goita's security detail acted swiftly, neutralizing the threat and ensuring the president's safety. The attacker was apprehended and taken into custody, where, as reported, he later lost his life under suspicious circumstances while in detention. Following the incident, Goita was immediately taken to the Kadi military camp, a secure location outside Bamako. Security around the camp was reinforced as a precautionary measure. The swift response by Goita's security detail highlighted the heightened state of alert around the interim president, reflecting concerns about his safety amid Mali's volatile political climate. The presidency later issued a statement assuring the public that Goita was safe and sound, and that investigations were underway to uncover the motive behind the attack and any potential accomplices. This incident highlighted the precarious nature of leadership in Mali. Adding to the complexity, the Malian government has turned to unconventional means to combat these threats, including deploying Russian mercenaries from the Wagner Group. This move has been controversial both domestically and internationally, with concerns about human rights abuses and the undermining of democratic institutions. The involvement of these mercenaries has also strained relations with Mali's traditional allies, including France, which has withdrawn its military presence from the country. France's withdrawal from Mali was not entirely voluntary, but was influenced by escalating tensions with the Malian authorities. The French government, along with its European allies, announced a coordinated withdrawal of their military forces from Mali due to what they described as multiple obstructions by the ruling military junta. These obstructions included the expulsion of the French ambassador and a breakdown in relations, particularly after Mali's military leaders reneged on commitments to hold elections and instead proposed to remain in power until 2025. President Emmanuel Macron stated that France could no longer cooperate with the Malian authorities under these conditions and would redeploy its forces to neighboring countries like Niger. This decision marked a significant shift in France's military strategy in the Sahel region, where it had been engaged in counterterrorism operations since 2013 through Operation Barkhane. The decision also reflected a broader rethinking of France's role in the region, moving away from direct military intervention to support a more balanced regional approach in collaboration with the EU and African partners. The withdrawal was seen as a response to growing anti-French sentiment in Mali, which has been partly fueled by the involvement of Russian mercenaries from the Wagner Group, further complicating the political and security dynamics in the region. In the aftermath of the attacks, the government and security forces have ramped up operations against jihadist groups in the region. The response has been swift and severe, with numerous arrests and raids targeting suspected militants. However, there are concerns about the effectiveness and sustainability of these measures. The recent attacks are a stark reminder of the fragile state of security in Mali. They highlight the growing reach of militant groups and the limitations of the current government's response. This has several implications for Mali's stability going forward. First, there is the risk of escalating violence. As the government ramps up its military operations, jihadist groups are likely to retaliate with more attacks. This could lead to a cycle of violence that further destabilizes the country, particularly in the already volatile central and northern regions. The attacks could also undermine efforts to negotiate a peaceful resolution to the conflict. In recent years, there have been attempts to engage in dialogue with some militant factions, particularly those with local roots. However, these efforts are often derailed by large-scale attacks, which make it politically unfeasible for the government to pursue negotiations. Some people believe that this attack has exposed the weaknesses of the current government and raised questions about its ability to govern effectively. This could lead to increased domestic opposition and potentially more unrest, especially if the promised return to civilian rule is further delayed. Despite the challenges, there is hope for Mali. The resilience of its people is remarkable, and there are numerous local and international efforts aimed at stabilizing the situation and fostering development. Community-led initiatives, humanitarian aid, and diplomatic efforts are all playing a role in trying to build a more stable and prosperous Mali. For Mali to move forward, a multifaceted approach is needed, one that goes beyond military solutions to address the underlying issues of governance, development, and social cohesion. The international community has a role to play in supporting these efforts, but ultimately, it will be up to the people of Mali to determine their future. How will the Malian government and its allies respond to this latest wave of violence? Can regional partnerships, such as those with neighboring Sahel states or external actors like Russia, bring lasting security? And what measures can be taken to prevent further escalation and protect vulnerable populations in the face of persistent extremist threats? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the New Tourist channel. Turn on notifications too so you get notified whenever we upload videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you in our next video.